Hey guys, what's up? Nobility here, and today I'm going to be talking about the fidget spinner. So this video will cover tips and tricks. So let's get on to the tips. Tip 1. The price. I found this fidget spinner for $1 and I immediately bought it. So after playing with it for a while, I found out that it's not worth a lot, and you shouldn't really buy one that costs over $2. So stick to under $2 unless you want something unique, such as ones that are fitted with LED lights, ones that have custom skins. Other than that, $2 should be more than enough. Tip 2. The bearings. Sometimes your fidget spinner might vibrate, slow down quickly, and make a lot of noise. Well, the problem must be the bearings. So the bearings are hidden underneath these two plastic covers over here, one here and one here, and you need to access the bearings. And to do this, you need to put something in this little gap over here and the little gap over here. In my case, I use a metal ruler, so I just slide it in, pull up, and eventually it just pops out. This is what the bearings look like. You pop it out, you do the same for the other side. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort, but you eventually get it. So this is what the bearings look like. It's these spherical balls over here, and this is what basically reduces the friction. So as you can see, these spin, and these are the ones that come into contact with the other body, and my thumb is staying in the same position but the body is moving. And so this is what you need to wash, because sometimes these spherical balls, they become dusty and dirt starts like molding on them, and so you need to wash them. And to do this, you need to basically just put it under a tap. But then, like, when you're drying it, do not use towel, because towel has fibers and they get stuck and you might have the same problem all over again. And so what I usually use is tissue. So I just put it on and I gently dab it on both sides, and then when I see that there's no more water left, I just put the bearings back on. But it's not necessary to take all the water out, because as you spin this thing, water is eventually going to get out, and water doesn't do any harm to the bearings itself. So yeah. Tip 3. One hand movement. I usually launch the fidget spinner like this. I hold the fidget spinner in one hand and launch it using the other. But I have found out that there is also a way to launch it using only one hand. So you hold the fidget spinner using your thumb and your first finger, and you use your middle finger and you put in one of these curvatures over here. Once it's there, you simply push back, and this spinner starts spinning outwards as you push back, not forward. The harder you push, the harder it spins. And this is really extremely helpful in case one of your hands is busy and all you have this one hand, and you can still enjoy this thing. Now it's time for some tricks. Trick 1. Finger balancing. Finger balancing is basically you balance the fidget spinner on one of your fingers. To do this, for a beginner, I would recommend that you start using the thumb first and then move on until the pinky, which is the hardest. So to do this, you basically hold the fidget spinner in your normal position, so the thumb underneath and two or one finger at the top. I prefer to have two, and you spin it really fast. The faster it is, the more stable it is, and so easier for you to balance it. And then after it's spinning really fast, you basically just lift those fingers off and you start to balance the thing on your thumb like this. And in the first few tries, you might the fidget spinner might fall and you might get a little hurt, but eventually you'll get hang of it and it's going to start looking like this. Then eventually you can start moving on to some other fingers, 2 fingers or even 1 fingers, and then you can start moving like this, and eventually this. And you can do some pretty sick tricks with this. Maybe show off at school, show off in public places, I don't know, it's your choice. Trick 2. Changing fingers. After you have enough experience, you can start to change the fingers, but of course you need to learn how to balance first, and then you can move on to this. So first of all, you need to have the fidget spinner held by 2 fingers, and if it's like this, you hold it like this and you basically flip it up, and once you flipped it up, it's gonna look like this. You can start balancing it on this finger. Now there are some cases where it's balancing on this finger and you want to take it to the middle finger, which is here. To do that, you first have to transfer, wait, let me just spin it again. To do that, you first have to transfer it to the thumb, spin it back, then you change the first finger to the middle finger and you transfer it back. There are some pro moves to do this, like just throwing the spinner in the air and catching it with the middle finger. I think that's possible. I haven't seen anyone do it, but this is the beginner way to do it and also the safe way to do it. So you basically start with one finger and eventually use the thumb to move on to the other fingers. Trick 3. Hopping. So hopping is basically when you launch the fidget spinner and it's balancing on two fingers and you start to push it upwards a little and it starts to hop. Now this can be really difficult sometimes, especially when you're sitting and you're trying to do it, but if you're standing, it's going to be really easy. So you just basically thrust it upwards a little and it starts to hop. I'm doing really small jumps right now because it's falling, but when you're standing you can do a lot higher, but obviously that would require a lot of experience and practice. But for beginners, I would recommend doing small hops first and then moving on to the big hops. Alright guys, so now that you've heard all of my tips and tricks, I have a challenge for you guys. So this is how the challenge goes. You have to spin the fidget spinner really fast as you can, because that's going to benefit you later on. So you spin it really fast, you balance it on the thumb for 3 seconds, then you move on to the first finger, you balance it there for 3 seconds, then you move on to the middle finger, 3 seconds, then you move on to the fourth finger, 3 seconds, then you move on to the pinky, 3 seconds. That's going to be especially hard, trust me. Pinky finger, it has a small surface area, and so yeah, let me see how you guys do it. And then after you're done for 3 seconds for the pinky finger, you have to throw this thing in the air just like this, and it has to land successfully on the other hand. That's my challenge. Do tell me if you do it successfully. And that's all for today guys.